There's an increasing requirement for the facility to import a third-party bill or schedule of works into a quotation. Now, in Contract Controller, it's possible to import a bill with the option with two different formats, both having the facility to accept prelims. Firstly, in a basic format, where only the bill reference, item description, and quantity is imported, and then you will need to open up each item and then add all the various elements to achieve the required costings. The second method is where the element details, the materials and labour, are brought in at the same time with the schedule. And this will then be matched to Contract Controller's material and labour library, and therefore it would form the completed bill item once it had been imported. Okay, so let's look at the basic bill import. So from our summary screen, firstly, I want to show you the prelims. We've already got one added in there that I added manually. You'll see why I'm showing you this in a moment. So we go to our bill schedule of works. We've got a blank screen. Go to your bill options and functions, bill import functions, and import bill or schedule. This will then give you a dialog box where you can select what you want to import. Now it's showing you the format that the items being imported need to be in. So the column A is going to be the reference, column B will be the bill page header, and then the description, quantity, and the unit of measure. Now, because we've got prelims listed here, the system will know to put that into the prelims area rather than try and form a bill item. It will then go on to removals and add these items in, then doors, the retail area, etc. Now, it doesn't matter if there's any spaces in the spreadsheet, the system will know to ignore any gaps. To see a template of that, if you show example template, the system will show you the example and the spreadsheet and the example of the format it needs to be into imported. So if I double click on the example import and look at the spreadsheet, we've got all the elements there. So you could use this as a template and then just add this change or adapt the spreadsheet to suit. Once you've got the required elements in there, you need to save it as a text tab delimited document. So say save as, find where you want to save it, then change the type from the workbook to text tab delimited. Then you'll see they're the ones that we've created here. I'll just call this basic 03. Click save, just agree with that statement, and then close your spreadsheet. So you can see now we've got our quote import basic 03 listed there. So we'll close that. So now if I say import schedule, it's wanting me to confirm if I want to keep any existing prelims that I've already entered and then add whatever it's found in the spreadsheet, or clear them and then add what's in the spreadsheet. So we'll say no, keep them. Then select the text file that you want to import. The system will then form the bill items, and you'll notice here they're all in pink because they're incomplete. It doesn't know what the elements are required for that. If I go to the prelims, you'll see the prelims I manually added is still there, and then the ones that came in from the spreadsheet are shown here. So then I can go back to the import and then start costing these up. So we can see here where we've got any electrical items. I might want to classify those for the electrical subtrade, so I'll just highlight those. And then I'm going to assign those to the electrical, and then assign those to the flooring. And I can then double click on the items to complete them in the usual way where I add the elements for all the items. Now, if you imported all of those and you thought, crikey, I've imported the wrong sheet, you can easily remove them simply by going to your bill option functions and say clear imported bill or schedule. Now, before I do that, I'm just going to create another item in here. So if I just say there's a new item, and we'll say it's each, and we'll complete later. Now, the reason I'm showing this is you might already have had some bill items that you've already put in before you imported a schedule. So if I then go to the bill import function and say clear imported bill or schedule, it asks me to confirm that I want to do that. And again, am I sure I want to do it? Yes. But it will only remove the items imported. It won't remove any of the items that I've manually added. Now, it's easy enough to get them back in again. I can just click bill options, import from the schedule. We've already included our prelims, so I'm going to clear those, import the list. Then they come back in, but obviously the one I created was already in there. So very easy to import the bill or schedule. It just means that the bill from the architect or that you've formed needs to be in this format. Okay, the next slide we'll go on to see how we can import things in a more detailed fashion. So looking at importing bill items with more details, if we go to our bill schedule of works, go to our bill options and functions, import bill or schedule. So this time, rather than staying on the basic import, we click go to detailed import. Now this will give you a slightly different format of the spreadsheet that needs to be entered in. So we still have the area where we can put our prelims in. So we still have the bill reference and the header and the details. But this time where we've got our doors, we've got the bill header there, we've got the item number and the description. But below that, we have the material element of that. Now these need to match the codes in contract controller in the material library. It doesn't matter if they're sheet materials, cubic timbers, ironmongery, bought, glass in, glass, whatever, so long as the codes match, the system will know which area to put it in. If it can't find a code, and we've got one here, no code to locate, it will then put that in the adjustments and it will use the price that's shown in the spreadsheet. Any prices that are shown in the spreadsheet here will be ignored. Contract controller will match these so you get the current rate, but it will match the sizes for any sheet materials that you've entered and obviously the quantities. So to look at a template from there, same as before, you can show example template. So it'll then show you the detailed template. So if I double click on that, we can open up in Excel. So again, you could use this as your standard format and change it to suit, but as long as you keep the same format, everything will be fine. Again, don't worry about the gaps. The system will know to ignore those. What we do need though, is to make sure that the item here, it's got the reference of 2.01, could be anything, but all the elements below it need to have the same reference because it needs to know where to anchor those to. And as we said previously, these item codes must match the codes in contract controller or they'll all be put into adjustments. So like the other spreadsheet, once you've got that in the format and the data that you require, save it as a text tab delimited document. So don't forget you need to change save type as from the workbook to text tab delimited. And then we'll just say this is detailed 02. Save that. Agree with that statement and then close your spreadsheet once it's finished saving. Close that. So now we're ready to import into the bill. So click import schedule, select the correct template. That will then import the details. So we can see here now they're all instantly in the blue saying they're ready for markup and we've got our cost. So if we double click on the first item there to view that, we've got all the elements so we can see they're entered there. We double click on this element, we've got all the elements there. Now I just want to show you an example of how it updates the prices from the library. So if we look at this item here in sheet materials, we can see we've got our Formica here costed at 222 as the sheet rate. So when I come back to the item, we can see here that the unit cost is 1,000. What I'm going to do in a moment is go back into the material library, reduce the cost of that Formica, and we'll see that this recalculates the cost as it's brought into the system. So we'll remove these items out of this quote. Save this quote to complete later. I'm going to go into my material library and amend the price of that Formica. So it was at 222 a sheet. We're going to change that to half the price of 111. And we'll go back to our quotation. Go to our schedule of works. And now when we import the bill, go to our detailed import. Don't need to view the template. I know where we're looking for this. Import the schedule. Yes, we'll clear the prelims and add the ones in. So with quote detail 2, import that. And now you see the price is less because the system, as it's bringing in that import, will check the material costs against each item. So you know, as long as these codes match, the costs are up to date. Similarly, if you've already imported the items, now that they're in there, materials changed, when you come back to amend the quote or view the quote to continue it, the items will be at the current cost. So again, very straightforward to import materials to the items, but that way it is dependent on you having the item codes for each element. And this can be used if you're bringing in a quote from, say, a third-party quotation system. One example is if we've got quotes where we're preparing a quote from drawings and the system's able to throw out the material requirement for that. It means we can then just import this into Contract Controller without having to recost the items. Okay, so that's all there is to the two types of the bill import. Again, obviously you can mix the two together. There's nothing to stop me from having that import, going back to this import, and then bringing in a standard type of import as well. So we can bring in that basic and bring that in. So you can bring in multiple reports. You can see here there that the ones that we've already brought in from the previous one are showing as ready for complete. The ones we've just brought in, the basic, don't have any items behind them, whereas these items obviously do have the items. Okay, that's all there is to using the bill import function. So thank you for taking the time to look at this short video, and hopefully it will have helped you with this area of Contract Controller. If you need more assistance using Contract Controller or would like more information, please do get in touch.